Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Uh, this is Teacher Abdul Samad. Welcome back to another lesson. So inshallah, today's lesson, we're going to discuss your last biology test. The first part for this test is about cells and reproduction. It has only three parts. The second part is about inheritance and selection, fit and healthy. And the third part, if you remember, it was about plants and photosynthesis, or plants for food. So inshallah, today, okay, there are questions I'll be explaining using by the Google form. So let's look here for the Google form questions. You can see here, these are the Google form questions. So the first part, I took inheritance and selection, fit and healthy. So this question is, you have a table. So then after, you need to use this information from the table to help you fill the gaps in the following statements. So chips are crisper and crisper than boiled potatoes because chips contains less. Most of the fiber in a baked potato is in the what of potato. You need to fill up using by the table, the information you have in the table. Use the information in the table to work out how much vitamin C there is in 200 grams of chips. So use the information in the table to work out how much vitamin C there is 200 grams of potato baked into skin. People do not always eat balanced diet. Match one line from each fact about the persons. So not enough calcium, which organ it basically affects. Not enough fiber, which organ basically affects. Too much fat, which organ affects. Second question is about a diagram you have. A family diagrams. This is basically about a genetic disease. So some of these people that have a genetic disease. So you can see here, family B, they don't have freckles, and family A, they don't have any disease. So the ones that have the disease, you can see they have dots on it. So which children are most likely to have freckles? Tick the correct box. So how did you decide this? So when you choose after how did you decide? So just white build does not have freckles. Which two cells pass on information from the parents to their children? So tick the two correct boxes, that the bone cell, cheek cell, egg cell, red blood cell, small cell, or sperm cell. Which organ system produces those two cells? So these are the circulatory system, the digestive system, the reproductive system, or the respiratory system. So question number 3, you have sailors use it to suffer from an illness called scurvy, caused by a poor diet on a long journey. James Lind was a doctor who tested treatment for scurvy. He predicted that all acids cure scurvy. So this is his prediction in the table. And after this, the question, does the evidence in the table support the prediction that all acids cure scurvy? Yes or no? Use the table to explain your answer. Give the one factor James Lind changed in his experiment. In this experiment, this is called the independent variable. Give the factor James Lind examined in this experiment, this is called dependent variable. James Lind evidence suggested that oranges and lemons cured scurvy. At a later time, other scientists did the following. So they did all that steps. So the question is to just a new prediction about a cure for scurvy that consists with the evidence collected. Question 3E, explain why it is necessary to investigate the effects of changes in diet over a period of more than 1 week. Question number 4, the table shows the recommended daily intake of energy and some of the nutrients needed by different groups of people. So you can see here, basically, the table below shows the recommended daily intake of energy and some of the nutrients needed. So you can see for the table, basically, you need to explain why two 16-year-old males of the same weight might need different amounts of energy. So you have to explain scientifically which two types of nutrients provided most of the energy in our diet. Calculate the difference in the recommended daily intake calcium for a 15 years old male and a 30 years old male. Calcium is needed for healthy bones. For healthy bones, explain the difference in the amount of calcium needed each day by a 15 years old male and a 30 years old male. Look at the table. Explain the difference in the amount of protein needed by a 25 years old pregnant female and a 25 years old female who is not pregnant. Iron's needed to make blood. So explain why a 15 years old female might need more iron than a 15 years old male. So this is about two basically zebras. So they have two different names. One of them is extinct. So the question is, zebras and cougars are easy to breed with each other. So the offspring contain a combination of both zebra and coug genes, genetic information. How a zebra and coug genes passed and form the parentage to their offspring. These days, there are some zebras that still show some coug features. Scientists are using zebras to try to produce cougars by selective breeding. Describe the steps in this selective breeding process. Question number 6. The drawing shows Sophia taking part in 4 different sports. So the table below shows the average energy needed for each sport for 1 hour. Sophia plays football for 2 hours each week. She also goes bowling for 2 hours each week. Explain why Sophia uses up her food reserves more quickly when playing football than when bowling. So you can see here the different types of the sport she plays and the average energy she need for 1 hour. So question 6b, athletes not drink alcohol before taking part in a sport gives two effects of alcohol which would affect for athletes' performance. Question 6c, some athletes take glucose tablets before a 100-meter race. They can also obtain glucose from starch in their diet. A starch molecule is made up of many glucose molecules joined together as shown below. An athlete can obtain energy more quickly by eating glucose rather than starch. Explain why. Question 8. The drawing shows a plant called Talantia. The leaves of this plant absorb light. Why do plants need light? So you're answering why do the plants need light? Talantia plants grow on the high branches of trees in the rainforests. These plants cannot grow well on the lowest branches. Explain why. So, and the second question, question 7c said, Talantis plants do not have root hairs on their roots. What two substances do most plants absorb through their root hairs? Question 7d, which diagram below shows a root hair? Take the correct box. Question 8, the drawing shows an experiment to investigate photosynthesis in weed from a period bubbles of a gas produced during the photosynthesis were given off from the bone weed and collected in the test tube. Name the gas given off in photosynthesis. What two substances are taken in by the plants and used for photosynthesis? Light of different intensities was shown onto the pan weed. So the number of gas bubbles given of the 1 minute and each light intensity was counted. The results are shown in the graph. Which letter on the horizontal axis shown the light intensity at which rate of photosynthesis first reaches its maximum. So you can just look from the graph, then after you can answer it. And here you have basically a table that gives to you by colors, different colors, and then number of bubbles in 1 minute. So you need to answer this question. It says by using the information in the table, take one box by one color of light, which is strongly absorbed by the pigment. Sugar is also produced during photosynthesis. Give two ways in which the plant uses sugar. Question number 8, question number 9, you still have a plant. So these are the information of this plant. So explain why Lizzie grew one plant in distilled water. What type of substance dissolved in the water in flask P is used by the plant for growth? How are roots adapted for taking in water? And question 9E, you have this information. So about Lisa said I have a second experiment using three similar plants. The solution in flask is C, D, or E was the same. So then after, the question says, right? The diagram, I mean question 10 says, the diagram below shows a single cell organism called Chalandomonas. It lives in pond water. Use the information in the diagram told me to answer the questions below. A gives two features that animal will show that it's more likely a plant or animal. So it makes a sugar called glucose, gives the name of the process which jam that makes glucose. He's just telling the process is mixed by the glucose. And this diagram below shows another single cell organism. So it's just what substance is produced from the start and what it's used for. Question 11 is about still a plant. So the drawing shows a part of the blackberry plant. Please, photosynthesis takes place in the leaves of the blackberry plant. Complete the word equation for photosynthesis. That is water plus carbon dioxide. Then after, what we add to that. And then you answering these questions. So this is about basically plant cell. So you have the part of the plant cell and the letter of the part of the plant cell is that A, B, C, D, E, or F. That is the last question. So if you need any help, inshallah, you can text me on WhatsApp or class literature, about class literature. If you need any help, you can contact from me there. So I hope you understand all the explanations about what you're going to do for this test, inshallah. So when you finish, inshallah, I'll send you back before 6 p.m. your results. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.